as a kitchen, we failed miserably.
What do you mean?
Miserably.
How?
Ticket times, man.
Oh,
like
you mean
40, 45 minutes. Keyboard warriors, they go on Facebook and you went there and
complain.
We had to wait for an hour for our food and whatever. But other people would jump on there. It's like, who the hell are you? Do you not understand that these people like this and this and brand new business? Hey, they did a great job. And
so you had the community defending.
The community was like defending us. My family like cried. The people of Kaneohe, like, oh man, some of the most beautiful people on the face of the planet.
So where are we right now? It's a nice looking place. When I was in here before, it was fresh catch, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, and I like this look. You put in some of these wood panels and stuff.
Yeah, we did this ourselves, all ourselves.
Looks good. So where are we?
Whiskey Smoke, Kaneohe.
Nice. Okay. And how long you been in here?
This building?
Yeah.
I don't think a couple months maybe.
Is that it?
Yeah. Like we opened on July 22nd.
Okay.
So yeah, we worked on the building for a good couple months before we opened. So.
Yeah, it's September now. So you did a lot of interior work.
Yeah, interior, exterior, everything.
And so Whiskey Smoke, 808 barbecue, best barbecue on the island.
Best.
Nice. And you guys you were in Kailua when you started.
We're in Kailua,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Nice. So why did you move from Kailua to here?
Oh man,
that's a long story, huh?
Yeah. The short of it, okay. we were at a bar in Kailua. I knew all about this place. I actually hung out there a lot when I was younger and everything. Had drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
And had the place had kind of a bad reputation, but I've spent a few birthdays there and all this, and I heard that they were closing down because of COVID. Like they were going to close their doors, and my business was kind of in a place where like we needed an actual location,
right?
Because we actually started our business in our yard, at home, so figured, well, beer and barbecue. I know the place is doesn't have a good reputation, but maybe we can go in there and turn it around. They can help me, I can help them.
Yeah.
So went down there and told the owner, hey, don't close the doors yet. I have this idea. And people would always tell me like, don't deal with that guy. The guy's no good. Yada. And it's like, well, I'm not a dumb guy. Like, I'm no pushover. Yeah. I can go in there, assess the situation for myself and just keep my eyes open.
Right. You'll decide. You'll make the decision. Yeah.
So, we actually went in there, we got started, and it was great.
Yeah.
As we were going along, like I'd see things, we'd run into situations and whatever, let's basically keep this place as a stepping stone. Let's get out of there, but we needed to find the right place.
Right.
So,
Kalani, can we hear the water really loud? Is it in there? Is there any way we can not run water during the...
Hey.
I'm not really hearing it, but...
It's okay. I think you will in post.
You're screwing up our video.
We're doing a podcast!
Noise. Like, what are you doing washing dishes? That's a hand sink. Are you washing your hands? That's a hand sink.
Any other day, he would get on you for not washing the dishes. But today, it's the opposite.
You house them, you feed them, you clothe them. And this is the thanks we get.
This is the thanks. So you're in this space and you want to get out of it. But let me go back a little further. Why did you start a barbecue shop in the first place? Because I know a little bit, it's during COVID and you and your wife are like, let's just do this. What were you doing before you started barbecue and how did you start doing this?
Well, this goes back probably 40 years ago.
Okay, so we can go all the way back to the beginning.
Totally.
So how did you first get interested in barbecue?
I don't quite remember how it happened, but I do remember that I was in school. I must have been 8, 9 years old, something like that. And we had like home economics class or something like that. Something, and there was like this career studies thing or something.
Okay.
I was young, so it's kind of foggy, but
So this is in Pololo.
yeah,
Because you're from Pololo.
yeah.
Okay.
But I do remember like we took this quiz, and this quiz, the you like get scored, and the score that you got kind of determined or give a projection of like who you'll probably be when you grow up.
Right. It's like one of those personality
Yeah,
tests.
yeah. And like I totally remember it saying that you will be a business owner. You will have your own business. And I don't even know how this happened, but I've always wanted a butcher shop barbecue joint where we have a butcher shop, sell meats and sausages and whatever, but we'd also cook the stuff up for you. And it was like one of those things that just kind of lingered, and like for a 9, 10-year-old, it's like,
You don't really know what that means.
yeah. Like this is just what I wanted to do.
Right.
But I mean, like we would like go out and eat, and we would actually go to butcher shops. We farmed and hunted and stuff as well.
Yeah,
So we butcher our own meats, and I love doing it.
So when you say you farmed, did you live on like in the country more, or you were in Pololo?
Yeah, no,
farming,
we like actually had our house, but then we also had actual farm elsewhere. So we actually still have farms now.
Okay.
Yeah, so just, and I was wanting to do that. It was like a dream of mine. And then I grew up some and started getting into other stuff, drinking and whatever else and that kind of. And then I had kids.
By the time you were 11, and
actually,
that's a whole other story.
Yeah, and then I had my first son.
Okay.
And kind of that stuff went to the wayside. It was like,
right.
Like whatever's in my mind, whatever's dreams I had, it's gone.
Yeah,
I screwed that away.
Right.
So then we started to kind of plan life. Okay, we're going to have more kids, so on and so forth. And I never really forgot about that, but I knew it was something that it's too late.
Yeah.
There's no way I can make that happen. COVID hit.
Right.
And I was actually cooking pre-COVID. I've always loved cooking. I've never wanted it to be my career. I've done you name it, pretty much. I've done it. I drove trucks. I was a commercial diver, masonry, carpentry.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Just stuff just to not work in the kitchen. But I've always, between jobs, gone back to the kitchen.
Right.
So probably like 2010, I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna work in the kitchen. So I did, and I'm a huge workaholic. So I don't know how to stop. So working. COVID hit, everything stopped. First, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna hang on the couch, watch TV, have some beers, whatever.
How long did that last?
About a week.
Yeah.
I started.
That sounds right.
Started getting funny.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Right.
Short-tempered, snapping at my wife and my kids with stupid things.
So what drives that reaction to not doing anything, do you think? Like what is it? Is it just stir crazy or just?
Well, my grandfather was a workaholic. My father, huge workaholic.
Yeah.
And so I was raised that way. Like we're woken up early in the morning and you need to get up and get some stuff done before school.
Right.
Go to school, you come home, you got some more stuff to do.
Right.
And it just.
So so you think that emotion is like, you just don't feel valuable?
I don't know.
It's interesting because
I've never even thought about that. I mean, like at home when I was going through this, my wife was like, "Yeah, you're going through depression." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm a dude.
So she had a name for it.
Dudes
but
don't do that, you know.
Yeah,
Chicks go through depression,
Right,
you
right,
know.
right.
And truly, it made me stop. Be like, oh, maybe I am, you know.
Right.
So we're talking about stuff, and it's like, well, I need to. Man, my yard was pristine. Built these huge gardens, and it was just, you know, but it wasn't enough.
Right.
So, and then just not being able to hang out with people as well. You know, like I've worked in actual closed kitchens where you're in the kitchen, you're cooking. You don't interact with the people that are eating your food.
Mm-hmm.
Before COVID, I was at a place where I was in direct contact with everybody that was eating my food, and I loved it.
So you like to see the reaction?
Yeah.
From
I mean, you don't cook for the money because there's no money. You know,
you have to work so long for there to be any. Yeah.
I mean, the pay is garbage. Like you cook because you love. You know, like you don't. And there's you love cooking. You love to create. You love people.
Yeah.
You know, feeding people to me is like it's the best thing you could do. You know, you could give somebody money or whatever, and it's money, but when somebody's eating your food, like something that you created, something that you took, they're putting into their body.
It's nourishing them.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're making this connection you don't even know you really make. Like a part of me is you know. So
So what is your training up to this point? Because you say you worked in all these kitchens and things, right? But what do you know? Like, what's your specialty, right? Like, what do you know how to cook well, or is it just everything?
I cook everything.
Oh, you cook everything.
I've gone through so many different kinds of food
and different kinds of restaurants. Yeah.
You know, everything from like, you know, fine dining to just sports bar.
Right.
You know?
Right. Throw some chicken fingers in the thing.
Yeah. Just all fryer, you know.
Yeah.
Doing what I'm doing now, I love the most. Because there's more of it's more of a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could screw it up, like totally. And it's like, like to me, like it's exciting, you know, like briskets, like people, go through forever trying to make this perfect brisket, you know, and then they achieve that perfect brisket. Can you do it again? And then they screw it up and they'll make another one. It's perfect.
Right.
With us here, it's like, can you put out 40, 50 perfect briskets every single day? Ooh. Yeah. And it's like, that's what gets me excited, you know.
So how do you decide? Because I think this is something that probably a lot of people face, where how do you decide when to scale, you know, what the appropriate scale amount is, right, for your business, because you want to make really, really good stuff. Yeah. Right. And it sounds like doing 30 to 40 briskets, you said a day?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Is there like a threshold of diminishing returns, right? Where you're like, if you made 60, would they not be as good?
See, that's what excites me.
Right.
You know,
you like to push that envelope.
Yeah. I wanna find where that's at. Like, where do I start to slip?
Right.
And then, feel okay. Like, why did I just slip up? Like, did I cut a corner? Okay, let's not do that again. Let's step that 30, 40 up to 60, 70. You know, and just, I almost wanna. I don't want to fail, but I want to find that point, you know,
that point
where it's like, this is too much for me. Oh yeah, well, I'm going to push it a little bit further.
Right.
And you know,
if you don't find that point, it's almost like boring for you.
Yeah, totally.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like the whole school thing we talked about. It's like, if like I'm not being challenged, I'm like, I want to find something else.
Right.
You know.
Right. Okay, so you're bored at home during COVID. Your garden is amazing. but it's not enough for you. So how do you make the jump to, "Oh, I'm just going to start selling barbecue"?
Well, it started off, funny story, like my brother was kind of going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So he had built this frame for this outdoor shower,
Yeah.
this big black steel frame. And for some reason, he gave up on it. I don't know what happened, but he gave up on it. And he's like, "Hey, man, you want this thing?" I looked at him like, I could make a big-ass smoker with this. Like, so I brought it to my house, and like I had all these big stainless steel sheets.
Yeah.
So, I actually told my family, like, let's build a monster smoker.
Yeah.
And it'll be our father-son project.
Right.
So we're building this huge smoker. We finished it. The four of us could fit in this thing.
Yeah.
It was huge. And it's like,
So it's like one of these stand-up.
Yeah,
wood-
like
yeah.
a offset cabinet.
Right. I've seen those before.
Yeah.
I know
So-
a guy in Waianae who builds those too.
Yeah.
And just smokes fish.
So like we were like, okay, it's done. High fives. Yeah, cool.
Right.
What are we gonna do? We're not gonna cook dinner in this thing. It's like,
We can't possibly eat all of the meat that this will. Yeah.
So then we was kind of like, well, like, let's like feed some people. Like, let's put some stuff in there. And just call people over, guys that probably like they were living paycheck to paycheck, whatever's, and then COVID hits, and and they're so people that possibly like needed to choose between paying their rent and bills or eating.
Right.
Go pay your rent and bills. I got all this food
I'll
here.
feed you.
Like, you're helping me out because I need something to do.
Right.
And like I need that human interaction.
Right. You love feeding people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So like we'd make sausages and all this stuff, and just friends come over and hang out. We'd be in the back of the house because just in case somebody turns us in because we're hanging out. We're like not like
Right. I forgot about that. We couldn't even hang out.
Yeah. I mean, like my band, like like we were like we need to write music and practice and all this stuff, but you're not supposed to be out on the streets if you're not working unless. So like we do this like covert, like just to go write music.
Covert band operations.
Yeah. So I mean the same.
Yeah, we couldn't even go to the beach for a while. Right?
Yeah, it was
like
crazy.
yeah.
And so like so we'd have these little things. We have folks come over and like eat and whatever, and then I would kind of up the scale, just briskets, ribs, and all this other stuff, pastrami, and whatever. And then like folks are kind of like, "Yo, here's some money," like that. I don't know, it's your money. Like, you're like, "Well, your money's probably gonna run out." I'm like, "Well, yeah, it kind of already is," but it's cool. I mean, whatever.
Look, I got a garden and I'm
Yeah.
smoking my own meat, so it should be.
So then like.
So people start giving you money.
Yeah, and then like start telling me like, "Man, you need to be selling this food."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, everything's closed, COVID."
Right.
Like, I can't go opening a restaurant right now. I'm like near broke.
Right.
And you open a restaurant when everything's closed, it's stupid.
So you have all this chef training, and you're doing. I mean, this is what entrepreneurs do, right? They're like, whether or not you identify yourself as that, right? It's like, I'm bored. I like to stay busy. I see an opportunity or a problem. I can solve it, and I enjoy solving it. So let's go.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you did. So, but you have all this experience cooking and things. But then, like, how do you? Because I would imagine there's a difference between having cooking experience, having chef experience, and then making like increasingly better and better barbecue, like specifically, right? Briskets and this and that. Like, were you just Googling stuff at this point because it's the middle of COVID, or were you just using your experience and intuition?
People ask me this question, and I hate answering it because it feels like I don't like to talk about myself. I don't like to boast.
Well,
I
too
don't
bad
like
because you're on a
pat
podcast.
myself on the shoulder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, like, my food's nothing special.
Even now.
And I tell people, like, this is how we eat at home.
Right.
It's like, but apparently it's some huge thing, and like, this is a lot of the food that we, like, my dad used to cook a lot of this stuff. Our beans, which apparently is best smoked beans on the face of the planet. It's my mom's recipe. You know, we've like we've always eaten this way. We've always eaten these things.
Right.
The only thing outside of what like I just do is our chow,
Yeah.
which is this pickled cabbage that
Right.
I first experienced in, it was like Missouri or Arkansas or something. Went to this spot and tasted it. It was fantastic. Came back home, recreated it, and like now we can't make enough of this stuff.
What year did that happen? Was that after you started?
No.
Okay, so you've had even the chow recipe
All these
for
recipes
a long time. Yeah.
I've got composition books. Mind you, when I was a kid, 8 years old, I've loved cooking. I'd come up with recipes
Right.
when I was a kid.
Right.
You know, like sausages and different rubs.
But you didn't
all
like
this
school.
stuff. No. 'Cause it
So
was
you used
boring
like
as
your
hell.
spelling composition book and you just
Yeah,
wrote
yeah.
recipes in it
Yeah, like
instead
I
of spelling
still
words?
have them. You know,
Right.
I mean, like I looked through them, like spelling's all wrong and
Right.
it's stupid, you know.
Right.
But like, so lots of these recipes are stuff that I wrote when I was like a kid.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
wild. And like, I mean, like my like own kids, I actually show them. I'm like, I must have wrote that when I was 10 years old. You know, and we don't do the exact recipe now, but you can see
Right.
what was used to, you know, in what we have now. You know, it's just.
So how was school for you? Were you were telling me before that it was pretty, like when you were a kid,
Mhm.
you're having all these dreams of starting your own business, which is crazy at like 8 years old.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even see it as starting my own business.
Right. You just wanted
like,
to
this is
sell.
what I want to do. I want to have this place where I can
Right.
like cut meat and sell meat and cook
Right,
some
right.
meat, and it'll be cool. Everybody be happy with meat. You
Right.
know? It's like no concept of like when you go to a eatery, a hamburger shop, that's somebody's business. It's just
Right.
a place to go to. You get some hamburgers.
What this guy does is he gives people hamburgers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know anything else about it. Yeah.
It was kind of the
Yeah.
the young mind, you know.
But for you, that thought and coming up with these recipes was much more interesting than
Yeah, totally.
your classes.
Totally.
And that was probably true all throughout school, right?
Yeah, like I was as I grew older, like I got into other things, music and
Yeah.
all this stuff that was more challenging. Like math class, I can do, like I'd pass every test. You couldn't throw a test at me that I couldn't pass. You asked
Right.
me a question, I got the answer.
Right.
But just being in class, you know, like I'd rather throw snot rockets than
Right.
listen to your lecture. You know,
Right,
it's
right.
boring. Like you
Right.
know.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's, like we were talking about before, that's something that's so true. It's always been true though. Like I feel like a lot of people who have started some of the greatest companies and businesses and ideas ever, they're not into the traditional way of learning.
Yeah.
And going to school, and because to them it's boring. It's just memorization, right?
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of school is. And there's no challenge in that.
Yeah.
Right? There's no, so that's wild. So you have all these recipes and then you start selling food to people, and then at some point you're like, all right, I'm gonna go into this spot in Kailua, which you're a little shaky on, but you're like, I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like back a little bit.
Yeah.
A dear family friend of ours that also owned his own pop-up business,
Yeah.
right? He did tacos and stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic tacos. He was the one that was bugging me. He's like, you need to start selling your food. Like, I will set you up on Instagram. I don't do Instagram and all that stuff. Or
Yeah.
I didn't then. I couldn't be bothered, you know.
Right.
He's like, no, man, you can actually sell your food on Instagram. And I didn't understand the concept.
Right.
You know, I was like, so...
I post a picture of a
Yeah,
brisket and then
gonna buy
somebody.
it? Like, how does this work? You know, like, no. So he walked me through it. And we finally got all this stuff set up, and we made this post like, hey, we're going to be selling these plates.
How do you sell food
this
on
day.
Instagram?
You just put a post out saying, hey, we're doing this on this day. Message me your order, pay me via Venmo, and I will tell you where to pick it up and at what time.
Ah.
And I'm like, no. First of all, I come from kitchens now.
Right.
I'm like, the Department of Health is going to be all
Yeah,
over my
yeah.
ass.
That's the first thing I was thinking.
I've got chickens running around my yard.
Right.
You know, and they were like, well, with COVID, they're not even bothering any of this stuff because there's so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, so we're doing this thing. We're supposed to be like socially distancing and all this. Like, and he's like, just shut up and sell food, man. You know, just do your thing. So, first day, there's like a line of cars down my street.
Yeah.
You know, people showed up, and it grew.
So you posted a time, and you're like, I'm gonna have all this stuff ready, and then people just showed up.
Well,
They just waited in line at your house.
It was nuts.
And you just went outside and like handed it through the window.
Yeah, like we couldn't believe it. We're like, what the hell is going on here? You know? And it got to the point where like I would have to give my neighbors food and apologize to them because our street is so full of people.
Right.
Like I'm like, hey, we're not selling drugs, I promise.
Right,
We're
right.
selling brisket. You know,
Yeah,
almost the same, but you know. So we got to a point where I was getting rid of furniture in our house for more equipment. You know, refrigerators and freezers and stuff because I couldn't hold enough food.
Right.
And it hit a point where like my wife is like, no,
We gotta have a space.
you're done, man. Like you're not getting rid of the couch. Like it's an old couch, you know.
Who cares about the couch?
Yeah, that was dead serious.
Right.
Like we were turning our house into a commercial kitchen. I'm the kind of guy I got my
And the Department of
head
Health
set
never
on
called.
something. No, never.
Okay.
You know, like once I have my head set on something, like I'm
Yeah.
going full steam ahead.
Yeah.
You know, she's more the one like, hey, hold on, buddy.
Right.
You know, we hit a point where she's like, no, like we can't keep doing this
Yeah.
because you're getting rid of furniture.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So you needed a space.
Yeah. So my other buddy was like, hey man, I was just over at Bob's and they're shutting down
Right.
because of COVID. I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
Right.
He's like, they've got a kitchen in there.
Right.
Ding. I'm like, all right.
Right.
Let's stop.
Problem
So
solved.
that's all that happened. Just did
Yeah.
it, man. Just took the risks. You know, I'm a huge risk taker. Like I'll drop every penny I have on a dream.
Right.
I mean, you know, just please don't fail.
I mean, that's how everybody who starts a business is mostly, right?
And you have to. If you're not willing to take a chance on yourself,
Yeah.
you know, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, you'd just be doing the same damn thing your whole life. You know.
Right. And I always think about it like we talk about losing all the money in our bank account I mean, really like in the day and age we live in now, there's always another shot.
Yeah, totally.
That you can always fail and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've failed at so many things.
So many
man.
times.
I've put my family in such bad spots. my wife will tell you, man. There's been times I'm so sorry.
But they're all here. They're all
Yeah.
here. That you guys
Yeah.
are together
Yeah, totally.
every day.
You know, it's one of those things that we learn from every failure.
Yeah.
You know, which is what I've always been taught. Like you can't succeed
Yeah.
until you've actually failed enough.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Every person who's been successful says that, right?
Yeah.
There are quotes from Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and other entrepreneurs, Bezos, and all, they say the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to fail. Like
Yeah.
you have to almost like want to fail because
Right.
like there's a lesson in it that you got to learn.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't learn that lesson, you're gonna fail.
Right.
You know?
I mean, you're 100% guaranteed to not succeed if you don't
Yeah.
try the thing, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, there's it's a 50-50 chance failure or whatever success
Right.
if you go and try it. It's 100% failure if you don't
Yeah. If you don't even
try.
attempt it.
Yeah, and then I mean, like my like worst fear is to be taking my last breath, thinking I wonder if that would have worked out. That would suck for me anyway. You know, just
So regret really,
yeah, totally,
does that drive you?
totally.
Yeah.
It's like just I've always been that way. It's just always I've always tried stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's most of them like I knew like, this is dumb. We're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
You know, there's something in it we can at least take away from it. You know?
But you think about that. Like you think about maybe before you take a risk or something. Does it cross your mind and you go, man, when it's all said and done, if I don't do this, I'll regret it. Do you think about that actively?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that like helps you.
Yeah. It's just, I need to know.
Yeah.
Like always, like I need to know.
Right.
You know, if like I don't know, it'll drive me nuts.
Right.
You know.
That's a good way to motivate yourself. I think about that too. Like, but so often I feel like I'm in the moment of like whatever that fear is, of that hurdle that I'm trying to jump. Right. I don't always go to the end and go, oh, will I regret this in the end? Which I think is valuable, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
It's a good motivator.
Totally. And you know, too, like I also like growing up.
Yeah.
My my pop, he's done a lot of stuff as well. You know, like, and like there was times I'd do stuff, you know, and he'd be like, hey, don't do that.
Right.
Like, why not? Because I did that, and this
I
is
know
what happened.
Yeah.
And I do it anyway because I gotta know, and it's the same outcome. You know?
Yeah.
So for like my own kids, it's kind of like, yo, like,
right.
I'm not gonna tell you not to do it, but I'm gonna let you know that
right.
this is what I did. This is the way I did it, and this is what happened. So, you know, if you're, I know you're still gonna do this.
Yeah.
There's no stopping you.
Yeah.
But maybe not do it this way.
Right.
you know.
Or maybe my voice will pop up in the middle of it and save you from like as bad as it could be if I didn't tell you.
I mean,
is your dad still around?
Yeah. I mean, like I'll be 50 soon. I'm like 48 years old, I believe. I don't even know how old I am.
Yeah, after you hit 40, you just
don't
stop
care
counting
anymore.
birthdays.
Yeah, but there's still times, man, that I'll call my dad still till this day. Dad, I'm sorry, man. He's like, what'd you do now? Or like, what did the boys do? You know what I mean?
Right.
He's like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember when 30-something years ago you told me this, and I did it. I'm sorry, Dad. Sure, listen to you.
Yeah. What did your dad do?
He actually retired. He actually drove trucks for the city. He's always been truck driver, heavy equipment operator, all that stuff. But he also did lots of side jobs. Like my hustle comes from him.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember as a child, we used to, you know, we collect cans, recycle cans, car parts. We used to go crabbing. Like we would a family day out. We'd go out. We'd have a little picnic and barbecue. We'd catch crabs and like actually fill these cans with them, and then like go to like town in Chinatown and sell them. And then we'd like have like money to go to whatever Chuck E. Cheese or something. Right. You know, and it was like cool. Like
that was the first hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
or
know?
one of the first.
And like my pop was like one of the guys. It's like he tell me like you never know till you know.
Right.
You know. I mean, done a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff where like my mom was always one. She's like, "What are you doing?" Well, Dad supports me. Like
he supports all the shots. You just take the shots.
I mean, he's put up with some stuff that were like, I think back on it, it's like, man, if my kids did have those, I don't know if I could deal with it.
Like from a risk perspective, or just from like crazy shit.
Just like
yeah.
Like I wanted to build a half pipe skate ramp.
Yeah.
You know, so we did one in my parents' yard, but it was the same height as the house roof because we wanted to skate on the house roof and drop into this ramp.
Right.
You know, and
of course. Why? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And like, you know, and my dad's like, well, just don't get hurt. You know, just make sure you guys.
That was his only note.
Yeah.
That's his only feedback.
You know, I've turned their 4-car garage into like a 10,000-gallon saltwater aquarium.
What?
Yeah, man. Like,
so starting a restaurant is like nothing on the risk scale. You're like
you've done some wild stuff. Like we had that saltwater system. Like you name it, we had it in there, and like back then, I didn't even think about like this was all these pumps and filters was plugged into their house.
Right.
So their electric bill must have been crazy.
Oh, man.
I didn't even think about it. And like my parents, they put up with it because it was stuff that I needed to learn. It was stuff I needed to go through.
You were trying things.
You know, to set me up
Yeah.
for now.
Right.
You know, and back then I didn't realize. I just thought I got the coolest parents on the face of the planet.
Right.
Now, still, I think I had the coolest parents on the face of the planet, but now I understand why.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting what our parents did as people, you know, and like, because we don't do the thing that we used to do where you used to, you know, everybody's last name is from a job, most of them at least, you know, and especially in like from Western Europe, if you look at it, right, like a cooper, that was a barrel maker, right, a blacksmith, right.
Yeah.
These are all job title, and even in other languages in other countries, right, that's a lot of what it was. We don't do that anymore, right? And I feel like that came from all the freedom that we have for our kids to do whatever they want to do. But I also feel like whatever we used to take from our parents and use at our job and our career, we still do that. We still like take things from them, and then apply that to whatever we end up doing. Right. And so that's what I love hearing those stories, because it sounds like that's what you took from your parents, you know. It's like,
totally.
Yeah, like this hustle, hard work, and then risk taking, right?
Yeah, I mean, the hard work was the one that I appreciate the most,
because you just saw it every day.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, one actual cool story at the time. It wasn't cool. I was quite upset, but now thinking back on it, it's like, man, my pop's pretty solid. You know,
Right.
There was this RC truck that I wanted.
Yeah,
The Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin. This thing was bad.
that's a hell of a name.
Yeah, you know, I wanted it so
Right.
bad. It was like $300-something in the 80s. You know,
That's a lot of
money. I'm like, Dad, I want this truck.
Yeah,
He's like, all right, you can get the truck. I'm like, cool. Comes home, he's got a mower bag, or you know, trash bags and whatnot.
yeah.
Like, go to the neighbors and mow their lawn for like $5. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've got all this other stuff I gotta do.
Right.
You know, now I gotta do this stuff. He's like, well, you like want this RC truck?
Right.
Go earn it. I'm not gonna buy it for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, you suck. You know,
Right.
but it's like, you know, I could buy this thing for you, and you break it. Then you're gonna want me to buy parts for it and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you go and earn the money and you work for it and everything, like, you have your own money, maybe you'll appreciate this thing a bit more. First of all, you might not break it. If you do break it, you make some more money to fix it.
Right.
So what I did was I went to that actual RC store. Super cool people. They're actually still there now. You know.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Auntie, if I had actually gotten my truck already. You know, I actually earned the money, got it, and everything. It's like, hey, if like I sweep up your store, can I get parts for free and stuff? She's like, all right.
Yeah.
So I'd break my truck and sweep up the store, and I need this sweater dog bone or something. You know?
Yeah.
And then like my like own son also shopped through them. He actually flew airplanes and helicopters and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but just that ethic, that like, you know, you don't expect somebody to just get you something. If
You
like,
gotta earn everything.
You want it, you have to work for it.
Right.
You know, you have to get it yourself. Not just, you know, because you can't expect people to get stuff for you, but because if you worked for it, like, you get it, you appreciate it.
Yeah.
A bit more, you know, which is why we actually did what we did here. Like, we built everything here ourselves. Our kids was like,
You mean like in terms of the decor and
everything. Like, this place was a wreck.
Right. You didn't go in and go, okay, how much is it going to cost for me to get somebody in here?
It probably cost us more doing it the way that we did it, because there was so much screw ups and miscalculations and whatever. But our family, our sons, and our, like, you know, we're Hanai sons, boys that like we've, you know, helped raise and whatever, that actually work here for us still. They were hating life, man. They were just, this sucks.
Right.
You know, especially doing tile. You know, like, they didn't understand just how much
this wasn't tile
backbreaking
before.
work. No, it actually was tile, but it was really bad.
Wrecked.
Yeah.
So this is all white tile here, and so you guys had to fix up all the tile, reinstall sections,
reinstall stuff. Yeah, the whole deal. The like walls. We like actually tore all the walls down. And you put up new stuff. We actually built all this stuff here.
But it was more valuable for you to do that together.
Yeah. Well, a huge part of it was like, this is our family business. We're gonna build this as a family. We're gonna do this together.
Right.
But also, like, you're gonna crack your asses. Like, I'm gonna push you to the edge. Like, you're probably gonna hate me for a little while, and that's okay.
Right.
But when it's done, like, this is your pride and joy. This is everything to you. When like folks come in here, man, this is so nice. You can tell them, yeah, I built that. The kid that actually built this section here. We've known him since he was a little kid.
This wooden like backsplash.
Yeah. The whole frame
counter
and box area. He was actually homeless as a child. He was on drugs and just, and like, we actually helped him. We'd feed him, tell him, hey man, you like need a place to live. He always like, no. Like, he'd just rather be homeless.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. So little by little, we like worked on him. We'd feed him, give him some money. We see him, he needs some shoes, buy him some shoes, or whatever, a jacket, whatever.
Right.
And then he, started to kind of come around. We're like, hey man, you like want to work with us? He's like, yeah, I could earn some money. So he worked with us. So he's been with us for years, working with us, various jobs or whatever. So like once we got this here, like he built. I like showed him how to build something. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
And he was so impressed that he built this thing. He's like, man, that's the coolest thing in the world. Okay, I tell you what. I want you to build something that's going to be pretty epic. It's going to be big.
Yeah.
I will tell you what to cut and what length and where to put it and how to attach everything and they had to have. So that was this whole front here. And when it was done, like, he almost cried. He's like,
did he even really know what he was building?
No.
So you're just like, here's the measurements, here's what it is. Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, whenever somebody says something about, you see him glow, he's like, I built that.
Right.
Like, he'd look at me like, I built that. And it's like, that's something that, like, he'll never forget. Like, this building could go away. This business could go away. This building could go away. But that's something that he'll carry on with him for the rest of his life.
But it actually costs you probably more
time
and money because there's mistakes. None of you are professionals.
He screwed up so many pieces of this. And then, like, also, like, this floor, this building's been here since like 67 or something like that, right?
Right.
Maybe the guys that poured the slab just got off a boat or something. I don't know.
There was no leveling?
No, it was bad. So trying to explain them the best that I can how to measure things and offset stuff to kind of counteract how the floor is moving.
Right.
So it's a little crooked. You like put a marble on it, it's gonna go off on you. But it's like it's beautiful.
Yeah, no,
it's for
great.
This kid that like had a horrible childhood, homeless, family bailed on him, homeless, gone through what he's gone through.
Yeah.
He just found a new passion. Building stuff. Like, he can take this pile of wood and build something incredible.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, now he's like cooking.
Right.
And like even that, like, it blows his mind. Like, he's like, man, I just made that. Like,
so does he have a place now and everything?
Totally. Yeah.
So,
he like.
So he's like, yeah.
In fact, what's day? Tuesday. I think it was yesterday or Sunday. I asked him, hey boy, how's your like cash flow? You all good? Your bills paid?
Right.
Everything. He's like, yeah, I'm good. Everything is paid. I'm good. I was like, so what do you got? I'm just curious. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, and he like, bank. Like, how you doing? He's like, got about 15. I'm like, 15? What, 100? He's like, no, 1,000. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, I've been just because I'm also big on them. Like, I like tell my boys and my workers, to all money that they have coming in, break up into thirds. A third bills, a third to live, a third you just put away and
Right.
don't touch it. If your bills is larger than the third that you're putting away, you need to either make more money or cut your bills down.
Yeah.
You know, and he's been putting that money away.
Where'd you get that concept?
My parents.
Your parents.
Yeah.
That's the way they manage their money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We grew up like my parents had money, but we never used it.
Right.
Just put it away because like all the things that we needed or we could make or just get, you know.
Right.
I mean, and then you know, food wise as well. Like we like hunted and we like had a farm and all this stuff. So
Right.
you know, but yeah, it was always put money away. But some of their teachings also kind of screwed me in life.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Which I just learned this like 8-10 years ago.
Okay.
With them, everything's cash and carry. Everything.
So you're not building credit.
Yeah, you don't do loans, credit cards. This stuff's the devil. You know what I mean? Everything's cash and carry. If you want to buy this vehicle, let's say for like 20 grand, you better have 60 grand in your account before you even think about buying it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I've always my entire life cash
Right.
and carry.
You're not borrowing things. Borrowing's evil.
If I don't have 3 times the amount of money that I need for this thing that I want, I'm not going to get this thing that I want. Just, you know, like I don't need this thing to survive.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
I have everything that I need.
Right.
This is just something that I'd like to have.
Yeah.
I want, and that's how I've always been. And then I found out like it doesn't matter how much cash I have.
Right.
If I don't have credit, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know.
The price of things rises much faster than you
Yeah.
can save for, you know.
Yeah.
So
then,
at some point you have to finance.
Yeah. So then I'm like, well, okay. So I need to build credit. Go to the bank. Hey, I need a credit, you know, card or whatever's through you, because I have to build credit. Or like, you know, we like actually apply for credit cards.
Yeah.
You know, and we get this. Well, you actually have no credit history, so we can't. Like, well, I know that. Like this, I'm trying to fix this. Like,
Right.
I need you to help me fix
Right.
this. You're like, no, we can't do it.
Right.
Oh, then I'm stuck in this forever.
Yeah.
You know, it took my youngest son. Craziest thing is like, Dad, there's these credit cards that you can get. You put money into it, your own money, and then you use it, and then at some point they'll actually credit that money you put into the card into, you know, and then you've got a regular credit card.
I didn't even know about that.
Really? I didn't know about it neither. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wait, so it acts as like a debit card initially?
It's
And then once they trust that you put enough, that you're
Yeah.
responsible enough to keep putting money into
Yeah.
it, then they're like, oh, you'll be responsible enough to pay it off if
Yeah.
it's a credit card?
totally. So I'm like, okay, well, because
I've never heard of this. Have you ever heard of this, Coney?
Well, I have a credit builder credit card. It's the one that you put your money in first.
yeah, same thing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I have a credit builder.
A credit builder credit card. Okay, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So I'm like, he's buying all this stuff, his fancy credit cards. I'm like, how the hell? Like, I've got like 50 times more money than you do in my bank account.
Right.
You've got these credit cards. Like,
Right.
and he's like, no, Dad, this is what you have to do. So, okay, cool. Let's do it.
Right.
I put in like $600 or something, and I use it to put gas in, and we literally put gas in, jump in the truck, pay it. You know?
Right.
I don't know how these things work. I've never had a credit card before.
Yeah.
We're doing it, and then we like learn, no, that's not the way you do things.
Right.
Whatever. And then all of a sudden, we actually get this message saying, hey, yeah, like your like $600 is now we're adding that to your credit line of such and such that we just gave you.
Yeah.
You know, and then like every year they up our credit line. Now I've got like $200,000.
Right.
We built most of this on credit cards.
Credit cards.
You know, just because I still have that cash and carry mentality.
Right.
I didn't know how things was going to happen here. I didn't know how long it was going to take us. I shot for one month. Just come in there, bang it out, get it out,
Yeah.
and get cooking.
So how do
Didn't happen
you?
that way.
One thing I think is interesting is like when I went in to start making videos and films and things, all I had thought about was the craft, right? And like for you've tried a lot of different things before you started this business and did Kailua and then moved over here. But your craft that you were practicing was cooking, right? So then did you, I mean, I guess it was just this leap that you took to go, I can make the business work too. And you just learned along the way.
Yeah, this I've had a few other businesses
Without credit.
Without credit. I'm completely self-made. I've always been self-made.
Right.
You know, lots of stuff. You know, I'm lucky enough that I've got incredible friends and
Right.
family that anything I need, they're there for me.
Right.
You know, but just through all of that, I've learned some stuff. I'm no businessman, by far, not a businessman
Well, you're here.
at all. Like, we wing a lot of stuff, but a lot of the things that we screwed up in other businesses in the past, like, we need to remember this, you know.
What kind of businesses did you have?
Oh, man.
Are we talking about legal businesses?
Both.
All the above.
I've done woodworking stuff. I used to actually frame art. I used to turn wood. I used to make jewelry boxes,
Mm-hmm.
picture frames, urns, koa jewelry, that type of stuff. I was in the ornamental fish business for a while.
The ornamental fish business?
Yeah, I would like go out diving
Okay.
and like catch small fish for like fish tanks, which is where the 10,000 gallon saltwater aquarium in my parents' garage came from. And like I would bag them up and ship them around the world to like hotels and pet shops and
So you go diving.
private owners.
I don't know. Maybe this is more common than, because I mean, I live right down the street from here now, but I'm not from here originally. But like, so you could actually catch, they call it ornamental fish.
Yeah.
And then you get like small fish and then you sell them all over. How does that work? That's crazy. That's way more complicated than doing barbecue.
You know, actually, it's really not.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how do you? Okay. I have so many
can't-
questions.
You can't. My whole thing is I like stuff that I can screw up.
Right, because you like the challenge.
Yeah. You can't really screw that up. I mean, you could not inflate a bag enough and the fish arrives there dead, which you don't want, because this fish was minding his business in the ocean, doing his thing, and you just popped him in a bag with no oxygen and he died. You know?
Right.
You don't want to do that, you know. But yeah, you can't really screw that up. And just setting up, I think the hardest part about that whole thing was just figuring out how to get these fish to like Dubai or Japan, or
Yeah.
like we're shipping internationally, like just
Do you know like the box
literally around
life
the
of
world.
each shift?
Yeah, totally. You know,
Or each fish, yeah.
and like, and we had it pegged, we had it nailed. Like we're doing this thing, we're making money.
Right.
And like me and my buddy, like we'd get up in the morning, drink a pot of coffee, hook up a boat.
Who else is doing this?
Just dive. Well, there's actually a lot of
A lot of guys here.
Nowadays it's more regulated, and it's mostly because people that saw the money in it,
Yeah.
they would start bleaching reefs and doing stuff to make it easier. It's not easy catching this fish, and there's some fish you need to dive to some crazy depths, like where you could die just to get this little dumb
Right.
fish, you know. But
So the worst sides of capitalism come out,
Yeah.
and they just start
Yeah.
ruining things and cheating and
Yeah.
ruining the environment.
Yeah.
And, interesting.
which is one of the reasons why I'm not doing it now. Like I've seen the actual decline.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, I know people obviously that go you know, spearfishing for taco. In fact,
Yeah.
Kalani is one of them. He does a lot of fishing, shoreline fishermen. But I had no idea that people were doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's crazy.
we shipped everything from little shrimp to sharks, like
That's
everywhere.
bananas.
But what ultimately ended that business
Yeah.
was 9/11.
Oh,
Because
they got real strict about.
There's no more planes flying.
Oh,
Everything got shut down.
but that only was for a short time.
The shipping process, where we could just drive onto the airport, load boxes into this container.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
all
You're
of a
not doing that
sudden,
anymore.
Nah, they're searching everything. They're searching us. You need
That's what I thought you
passes
were
and all
gonna
this
say,
stuff. And all of a sudden, it's like, man, like I've got thousands of dollars worth of all this fish that people want to buy, and I can't ship it. Like, what do I do with all this stuff? And it just became too much of a thing.
Well, and because of like the box life of each fish,
Yeah.
if they delay a package,
Yeah.
or they have to inspect it for another 24 hours, I'm sure that.
Oh yeah,
affected
it was
you, too.
just nuts, and like we just decided we're like, nah, and like we were young enough to where like, well, there's this shiny thing, let's go
Yeah.
check this
Right,
out,
right.
and do this.
Right, let's
you
try
know?
the next thing.
Yeah,
So, what did you take from all those businesses that you use? Like, one of the major things that you learned from all those things that you bring here every day to Whiskey Smoke.
on the business side,
Yeah,
the business side, paying your taxes or they'll come and get you.
you learned that lesson before you started.
Is that, and just I think consistency was a big thing, just keeping whatever work you're doing consistent, never really cutting a corner on it,
Like from a product standpoint.
Yeah, as well as like actual communication with customers, renters, stuff like that. All that stuff matters. Like, I've always been the guy, like, I'd rather just be out working, and my whether it's a wife would be, she'd handle all the phone calls and take care of people, talking. I'd rather not talk to people.
You just work. You like the craft.
Yeah. I mean, like
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Even though I'm talking to you right now.
Oh no! Once you get me going, yeah, we're
Yeah, me too.
talking
Me
for a
too.
while. But like, I'd rather just be in my corner doing
Yeah.
my thing, creating or whatever.
So how does that affect your business negatively in the past? Like, what did you have to learn to do better in that? Was it delegating it to someone else, or was it you had to take on more of that role?
I would delegate it out more in the past, though I also was a little bit controlling. Like, I'd like for things to be done a certain way. Like, you handle this situation this way, because that's the way that I'd handle it.
Right.
And then after a while, I was like, well, I should just handle my own shit. And why am I having?
Right.
I'm telling this guy what to say and do. You know what I mean? I should just-
Micromanaging a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm like, now I'm a bit more hands-on. I'm more out there doing my own stuff, even though I'd rather just be in my own corner.
So you'd rather delegate it, but
Well, like my kids are kind of taking that role now.
right.
You know.
So, and to be clear, we're talking about like you're in the back smoking brisket,
Yeah.
right? You're open 5 days a week.
Mhm.
There's a couple days a week where you're out buying products.
Yeah.
You're
Prepping and
prepping.
whatever, getting ready for the week.
And so you're the guy who's out there finding the meat
Yeah.
that you want, because you're not hunting for all your meat right now.
I wish I could.
I'd be able
man.
to.
I wish
I don't know if you could sustain that, even though you might be pretty good at pig
Trust me.
hunting. But
I'll make it happen.
so you're out there, sourcing the meat and the products, and then you come back here and you're smoking the product.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so the things you have to figure out how to delegate are like, who's working the front counter on the days you're open?
Yeah.
Who's working the register? who's doing the dishes, right?
Yeah.
Which I saw your daughter was doing them earlier. And then who's doing like the administrative stuff, right? The paperwork and all that kind of stuff.
Wife is doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the. If the computer's not on, I'm screwed. You know, like, I'm not a computer guy. I just like I can't sit and stare at a screen for any given amount of time. It drives me nuts. I need to be outside.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, like we've so our boys. This is something that just I knew, but I just recently come to terms with, and it's a good thing. I don't have to be here anymore. The boys got it. They got it.
Yeah.
You know, like I was always the guy, like every bit of meat that we serve, I had my hands on every piece of it. You know? Like I would go out, get it, bring it in, trim everything, season everything, hold everything, smoke it, wrap it, bring it in, you know, slice it, all, like this. Nobody can do it the way that I do it. I'm the best.
Right.
You know, my like sons, they totally can.
Yeah.
But I'll never admit it.
But like, that's the benefit of,
you know,
of having family in the family business, right? Doing these things. And then but you're not having to micromanage them because they're watching you do it.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
and it benefits them. They're not just employees, right?
Yeah. No, like this is not for me. This is theirs. This is for them.
Right.
You know, but just 2-3 weeks ago, whatever it was, I had COVID. And I was down for like a solid week and a half. I've never missed a day. You know, at the actual old spot, we were actually open 7 days a week. I was there 7 days a week, 12, 14, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, just because that's what I got to do. You know, when like I had COVID, I had no choice. Like I needed to leave this to the family, to the boys and whatnot, you know. And lucky enough, I had these crazy fevers, 103 plus, to where it didn't give me time to really worry about the business because I just slept the whole time.
Right.
And then when like I was like kind of coming back around, I'd be like, man, like what kind of mess am I going to get back into? And like I have to get back there and put out fires, you know. And they did a fantastic job, you know. And so now like you know, we actually spoke about it, you know. I'll be in Japan in a like couple weeks, so they'll be left to it alone again. So that's kind of like, you know, maybe you guys got lucky when I was sick. Let's see how you all do.
Right.
But the truth is they probably know
they can do it.
This kitchen more than I do.
It's something that you don't. It's maybe a benefit of a family-run business.
Yeah, totally.
Way is that you kind of know what your exit plan is.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the thing is, like, what that does is, I'm a firm believer in just the kind of guy that I am. Like, being here is not good for the business at all. It's not good for the family at all. Like, the more time I spend in this building or on this property, the longer this is all we will ever be.
Right.
You know, I need to constantly be growing, or I lose my shit. I lose my mind. I have to constantly be growing, you know, or I feel like I'm not doing my job, you know, as a father, as a husband, you know. So they got this. Now I can step out and I can start working on our brand. I can push catering harder, or, you know, I can start doing other things for the business that's not in these walls, not on the property. Like we're making our money here, which is fantastic, but we need to start making money outside. We need to start like selling our sauces and rubs, maybe even pastrami, ribs and stuff at like Foodland, Whole Foods,
Right.
start shipping, do all this stuff. And the more time I spend here, the less time I'm spending trying to get that stuff going. And this is all we'll ever be, you know, and to me, that's unacceptable.
So that's the plan to scale.
Yeah.
And the more you can let go of being here and hand it off to your family and the people you love and trust, then the faster you can scale.
Yeah. You know, the more I can grow this whole thing for them,
Yeah.
you know, like a issue that like we're having now, our sons are super tight. Like they're super tight. They fight like cats and dogs. When you try messing with any one of them, you got to deal with all of them.
Sure.
You know, my goal was to have other locations. So okay, one son will have this, the other one will have that one. That's yours. The other one will have this one. That's yours. You take care of it. And you're like, oh, so we're not going to work together anymore?
That was the first question.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, you guys are killing me.
Yeah.
You know, but like they're such a great team. So it's like, well, you know, maybe we can work something out, you know. But so as my goal is to, one, start to grow the brand outside of this walls, grow our brand, but also like I'm not getting any younger, and I've spent many years, you know, just working and trying to build the family and get the family to a certain place to where I stopped being who I am.
Right.
So now it's kind of a, well, if I can step back from this and dedicate a good 3, 4, 5 days to building this, building the brand and all that stuff, maybe I could put a couple days aside. I can start hunting again. I can start diving again. I can start doing the things that made me me.
Because you won't always be able to do those things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
So when you talk about, you know, selling your sauces and taking these products, what, from a scaling perspective, like, do you feel like you're going to need more people outside of the family that you're going to have to bring in?
Yeah.
That people you can trust to produce more and more, because you can only do 60 briskets.
Yeah. No, like my parents always took people in, right? Our house, like there was, when you wake up in the morning, there's bodies. The living room, just bodies. Like,
so you're used to this.
Yeah. So
my wife grew up like this. Like the house was always just full.
Yeah, like people that, kids, you know, parents were on drugs or just, they were working so much, couldn't be with their kids. Like, hey, you know, man, we'll actually take your kids and they can like stay here with us and we'll feed them, whatever. And that's the way I was raised. So, and my wife and I do the same. That's where many of like our workers are from, just kids that, you know, our so son's friends and stuff. Just they were out doing dumb stuff or whatever. Hey, come here. You know, I'll go teach you this craft. You know, and like stop doing those things and do this. You know, so I'd like to have this business be one of those where, like, if there's some kid just dicking off, doing stupid tagging walls, whatever, shoplifting, like, hey man, let me show you, like, this is pretty cool, like, let me show you this, you know, and hopefully, like, I can have a staff of like 100 people, those people, you know what I mean, and to me that would, I mean, like, be the like most awesome thing in the world, you know, just to take folks that otherwise would not amount to anything really in life but be in prison or whatever, you know, and like show them something that's pretty cool and that matters, you know.
The same way you built this, I knocked my water over. The same way you built this this counter and the interior of this, the same way you did that.
Yeah, totally.
You want to scale the business in the same way.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a super cool way to look at it, because I imagine that's not always going to be the most cost effective way to do it.
No,
right?
Totally not. Totally not.
It's just not.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of why you're doing this in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, like with like, you know, this, you know, whole thing. We went way over budget.
Yeah.
Way over time. You know, like, we actually hit a point, like, we actually was actually going to open like a week or two before we opened. Not because we wanted to. We were at a point where we are out of money.
You got to start bringing some income.
We need
in.
to open and start making some money.
Right.
We didn't have tables and chairs until like a half an hour before we actually opened.
Really?
It was. I'll tell you that story later. That was wild. But like our kitchen wasn't ready. We didn't have all of our equipment because we had this whole shipping issue that was going on, and all. But we were out of money, so it was like, hey,
Yeah.
we need to open.
Right.
We need to bring some money in, or we're
Right.
screwed. Like we're not going to open.
Right.
You know, it was kind of panic. You know, and then I like actually slept on it. It's like, man, if like we can open and people will come here and that's going to be their first impression.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's like, nah, there's got to be a different way. A good buddy of mine calls, hey man, how's things going? Yeah, it's going all right. And he's like, you don't sound like it's going all right. Like, what do you need? Yeah, I'm like, nah. So I'm telling him, this is like, hey man, you need some like money.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. He's like, how much money do you need? I don't need money. He's like, what do you need? I'll drop off a check. Yeah, well, 5,000. I'll read over. Here you go.
It's a good buddy.
Yeah,
Comes
you know.
back to you, right?
Yeah, totally.
Comes back.
And that pulled us through the 2 weeks that we needed to finish the place. We still didn't have tables and chairs though. My good buddy made these for us,
Right.
and so it was
nice.
down to the wire.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna open our doors on Saturday at 10 o'clock. He's like, I'll be there. We're gonna have tables and chairs. And like he was working on them overnight to finish them up. And we're all here. Like, we're gonna open. We don't have tables and chairs. Like, what's happening? And I'm like, yo, Russell, man. He's like, I'm on my way.
Right.
Cool. Like 9:30, he pulls up. We've got lines of people waiting for us to open.
Yeah.
It's
I
9:30.
mean, that's how Kaneohe is, right?
Yeah.
It's like the new thing.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be the busiest thing
Yeah.
for a long time.
And like he pulls up with his truck. Oh, tables and chairs, folks. Oh, what's that? Like, yeah, our tables and chairs. And like everybody's like, hey man, you need help offloading. Oh, yeah. And like customers, they're like unloading the truck and setting
No
up tables.
way.
Yeah, it was totally rad.
Oh man, you should have footage of that. That would
I
have been
wish
the
I did.
coolest thing.
And then we like also actually blessed the building and
Sure.
like business. So we like had this actual circle, sort of prayer circle, and the same customers like joining in the prayer circle. It was freaking amazing.
Dude, that's
It was-
unforgettable.
yeah. And like I wish we had somebody with like a video camera.
Documenting it or something.
Yeah, like I didn't even want to charge people for food. Like we were so blown away that let's just give it all away.
Right.
You know?
You're like-
how can I charge these people? Like
Yeah.
this was
Did
incredible.
you do it?
No.
Okay.
I was broke. There's no way. Like we were literally like sat down with my family and we're like, look, we're broke. Like, we've got 2 weeks to pay for our house and the bills at our
Right.
house, and we've got this bill, that bill, and the other bill, like, and we're totally broke. Like, we don't really know what's going to happen here, guys. Like, we cracked our asses and we did everything we could. Now just
Yeah.
fingers crossed and hope this works out.
And that was 2 months ago.
Yeah, we got completely destroyed.
For the
Like-
last 2 months.
Like that opening weekend,
Yeah.
we prepped all week to where like I felt comfortable to where, okay, what, like we prepped should last us a good week, and then we just kind of sort of fresh throughout the week stuff that can't be held, right? We opened Saturday 10 a.m. Sunday we were pretty much closed at like 2 o'clock because we were out of food.
You sold out.
Everything. When we left this building, we had like 6 onions and a few bell peppers. That's why.
Stoked. Like, you're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you must have been like, Thank
I mean, like,
God.
my family, like cried.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
All that risk, all that.
Yeah.
And then the payoff was just.
And just,
And sounds like there was such a good, like, vibe about the whole thing.
oh yeah,
The whole
totally.
good spirit
Like,
about it.
we as a kitchen,
Yeah.
we failed miserably.
What do you mean?
Miserably.
How?
Ticket times, man.
Oh,
Like
you mean
40, 45 minutes. People just, and there's, you know, and the people of Kaneohe, like, oh man, some of the most beautiful people on the face of the planet. Like, my fear is, like, people don't, unless you've worked in a kitchen, you don't know, you don't understand, you know.
Right.
Like, just the pace and the stress and just, you know, try working in a brand new kitchen. You know, you've got systems kind of in place. Okay, so this is how we're going to do things. And if it doesn't work out, we're going to have to change it on the fly, you know. And then you've got 300, 400, 500 people waiting for food, you know.
Was it that backed up?
Dude,
Just so, like, phone orders, people out the door.
we wasn't even taking phone orders yet.
I guess I didn't drive by at that time because I live right down the street.
This dining room was full.
Just nuts.
We had 2 lines
Around the building.
going out the building. Like,
Wow.
chaos. And it was like that for, it's still, it's not to that scale,
Right,
but
right.
it's still pretty that.
But
that
people were just.
for the
Aloha.
most part, very, very patient. And
Yeah.
like my front of house, like, we're so sorry for this. No, we understand. See, it's like new. You guys still figuring stuff out. It's like,
Right.
cool, thank you, we love you, you know. And then there were those ones that the whole keyboard warriors, they go on Facebook and, oh, you went there and
Complain.
we had to wait yada for an hour for our food and whatever. But other people would jump on there. It's like, who the hell are you? Do you not understand that these people, like, this and this and brand new business, hey, they did a great job. And
So you had the
food's
community
the
defending.
community was, like, defending us. It was wild. Like, my mind was in a place where, like, we risked it all,
Mhm.
every penny that we had.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're broke,
Have some grace.
you know,
Yeah.
and everything's gonna go wrong and we're gonna lose the farm.
Right.
And then we open and everything's going wrong. Oh boy, we're gonna lose the farm.
Right.
You know, nobody's gonna show up tomorrow because we suck.
Right.
You know, the food's great, but just we failed.
Right.
And then to see people defending us, and then the second day to see some of the same faces that were here the first day back. You know,
Right.
we got to a point where, like, we were out of food and we're telling people, hey, we're sorry, we're out of food, we can't serve you. They're like,
Right.
well, you mean you don't have anything? We're like, well, we got stuff.
I got 2
But-
onions.
Yeah.
I got-
Well, like, we still had stuff, but we were thinking in terms of, okay, these are the plates that we have,
Yeah.
but we don't have all the stuff to complete the plate, so we can't sell this plate. Stupid, just panic, you know.
Right.
And then we got people, well, can you just make me something? I don't care what it is.
Right.
We're like, so my son Kavai yelled in the window. I'm like, yo, Kavai, you just
So whip
put
something
something
up.
together?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no problem, Dad. You know, it's cooking some stuff, and then
Yeah.
here you go. Like, well, okay, how much is this? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
It's not on the menu.
It's not
We
in
just
the menu. It's
invented
not
it.
in the system. I don't,
Right.
you know, I couldn't even tell you what this is, you know.
Right.
And they just dropped like 40, 50 bucks. Here you go. Cool. And they sit down like, man, this is amazing. You should put this on your menu. Like, come on, what was that? You know?
You just
And
write it down really fast.
Yeah. So that's how we got to the point where, like, literally, we hit a point where, like, we've got nothing. Like,
Right.
here's an onion. Like, you
That's
know?
crazy, man.
Yeah. And then we're like, hey, so what are we gonna do? Like, we can't open on Monday.
Yeah.
We probably can't even open on Tuesday because my process, how I smoke my meats, it takes days.
Mm.
You know, my like briskets, the process takes at least 30 hours.
So
At least.
do you write any of this down, or is it all kind of up here, and then you kind of pass it on to your sons?
My recipes like
Composition book.
composition book stuff that I wrote when I was a kid. No, I stopped doing that
Okay.
when I was a teenager.
Okay.
So everything that I make, like this business, past kitchens I worked in, all up here. Just muscle memory. My actual grabs. If you like, tell me to grab a tablespoon of salt, I'll grab my fingers. You measure that, it's gonna be a tablespoon.
Right.
So that's how I cook. I grab and go, mix, grab and go,
Right.
and never thought about. I may need to teach somebody this at some point. Okay, well, I have to teach you. You're gonna have to watch me.
Right.
But their grab's different.
Yeah.
Like, so then that dish is gonna come out very different. So I had my son like, hey, look, man, I'm gonna make this sauce. I like need you to kind of guesstimate and like write this stuff down. So then we actually started doing that for the recipes here, but then we also started to kind of write the recipes in code, just in case. So
you don't want anybody to steal these
yeah.
things.
So like lots of the stuff is in code, and like lots of it is also in actual percentages. So it's no longer tablespoon of this, cup of that. It's like a percentage of, let's say your like meat weight. You will add salt and a certain percent of cumin or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, you like could like steal our recipe book. You have
If
to
you
work
did all
for
the
it.
math, and
Yeah, you're gonna have to work for it.
Just, I give up. I'm like, it's not worth
Yeah.
it. That's interesting.
But then,
So-
like, too, it's like we actually did it together, so they understand
Yeah.
the code. They understand the things that obviously need to be in this recipe, but it's not in there.
Right.
Like they know.
Right. It's a native language for them at some
Yeah.
point, right? They're just adopting it.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones who would have the last name.
Yeah.
That would be the thing that they're doing, right?
Yeah.
If that still existed, right?
Right.
They would be, that last name would be passed on to them, and they're stoked on it, right? Like they,
Oh yeah, totally.
they want to do this.
Like
they
this
love
is, and I think, well, like our old spot, like I saw my family. Well, it was a pretty stressful situation there. There was a lot of stuff going on, and like I was watching my family break down.
it. Yeah.
They were pretty much over it,
Yeah.
and that terrifies me. One, because I don't want my family being in any kind of stress, anything I don't want them feeling anything but happy and proud.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, like there's a problem,
Yeah.
But also it'll translate into our food.
Yeah.
I'm huge on like what makes our food so good. Like folks ask me like, man, like how's your food so damn good? I tell them straight, because I love you. And they're like, what? Yeah, that's why it's so good. I love you, And like, well, explain. Well, if you take it, a dish that your mom makes, that's your most favorite dish that mom makes. Like mom makes this, and it's like, oh man, it's the best.
Right.
And you go to some restaurant, that's what they're known for, right? And you order that, it's good.
Yeah.
It's not mom good.
Right.
Mom's never been trained.
Right.
She's never gone to like culinary arts school or anything. She's mom, But why is hers so much better? Because she loves you.
Right.
She's making this for you,
Right.
And you're tasting that. You're not only tasting that with your taste buds, but your soul is feeling that. And I'm huge on that. If your cook's not happy, his food's gonna be shit. If your cook's not proud of like what he's doing, food's gonna be shit. I mean, the end user, the actual customer is gonna taste that. They're gonna feel that. If like your actual front of house staff is not happy with their job, they're not going to treat the customer well because they're not happy. They're not going to come out and hey, how are you doing? They may as well come out, yeah, my job sucks, just order something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so being there, like just it was more of a thing that like we just moved into this kitchen and we're doing our thing and there's all this other bad stuff going around us and this sucks. This sucks. Then we come in here. This is our building.
Yeah.
We built everything in here. We
Right.
busted our butts for like a month and a half.
Yeah, the
day
love
in,
just
day out.
isn't just in the
You
food;
know?
it's in everything.
Yeah, so there's a certain sense of pride.
Right.
So like now, like we have customers and whatnot that ate there and that would be there often. They come here and they're like, man, I gotta tell you, like, I've always loved your food. The food there is amazing, but for some reason here it's like, oh my god, like, did you change your recipe? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, no, everything's still exactly the same. It's just everybody's happy,
Right. You put everything you have as
Yeah.
a family into this entire building, right?
Yeah, like this is our.
It's in the fibers of this structure. Probably.
We still now, like, we've owned this business for how many years now, and we've been in here a couple months, but there's still times like we'll walk in that door and be like, man, this is our restaurant.
Right.
Holy shit. It's like, we'll pull up to the building. It's like, that's our building.
I love that.
Like,
yeah.
what the hell?
Right.
Like, how'd this happen? So,
Right.
like one day we're like making some sausages and brisket, and all of a sudden, this,
Never
it's
taken
cool.
it for granted.
Yeah, no, this is just. I mean, it still hasn't even, like, it'll sink in and it'll go in and it'll sink in again and it'll go in.
Right.
And then I mean, like, we'd be like working, just we're doing our thing,
Right.
not realizing that we're doing our thing in
Yeah.
our building, our
Right.
our business. Like, it's
That's
like,
awesome.
man, it's like
So
crazy.
how much of this kind of philosophy, and I mean, just barbecue in general, is not something that I would say Hawaii is known for, right? Like,
No.
there's definitely a lot of like culture of like smoking meats and that sort of thing. But the kind of barbecue that you're doing, there's multiple influences, right?
Mm.
You've got local influences, and then you've also got like Southern U.S. influences, right?
Yeah.
Tell what's the combination of those things? Like, how did you put those two things together?
I've always smoked meats. I was.
Yeah.
I mean, being raised the way that I was raised, like we've always made sausages. We hunt and stuff, right?
Right.
So we've like always smoked meats and made sausages and done all this stuff. And then like, I've always wanted to try things. I'm always trying different stuff. So I'm doing briskets and like ribs and all this stuff and whatever. But in 2015, 2013, something like that, our son, youngest son, he was doing bad in school, like really bad, but he was into RC helicopters, and like I was at my wit's end. Like, look, man, like, you need to do better in school. I know school sucks. I know.
You're like, I didn't like school either.
Yeah, but you got to start doing better in school.
Yeah.
Like what is it gonna take, to get you to just buckle down and just do school? It's like, I don't know. So I thought about it and said, okay, look, man, if you get me like B's and C's this year, you ain't even gotta get A's. Just get your grades up.
Yeah.
Like,
But why do we do this though? Like, I'm just thinking about it now. You and I have talked so much earlier about school doesn't matter anyway.
well, you know
Why do we do this as dads? Because
You
I
know
do the
what
same
the
thing with my
truth-
kids.
You know
Yeah.
what the truth kind of was? I was so sick and tired of his damn teachers hounding me. Like, just shut up. Like, just, he's gonna be all right. He's not
Right.
stupid.
Right.
Like, he's not a dumb kid.
Right.
I think you're just boring the hell out of him.
Right.
Like, you're maybe your class is dumb. Like, not the kids, but just the structure.
So is it like an image and stigma thing for us as parents, you think? Or is it just like...
Well, I'm not like my parents just always bug you gotta do better in school. Maybe
That's what I mean.
more-
It's all the parents, but I don't know. For me, maybe it's like a little bit of. I look at it like, if you can't at least buckle down and take care of this responsibility, then I don't care how curious you are about anything in the world.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Like, until I see you do that with something else, I don't believe you're the next great entrepreneur. Just because you hate school, right?
Yeah. I told him if you bring your grades up, B's, C's, maybe even. I'm not asking you for A's, but hey, if you can get there, fantastic.
Right.
You know, I'll do anything you want. Anything. Don't even be shy. You want to go on a trip? Let's go on a trip. Take it anywhere in the world. Whatever you want to do.
Right.
You know. He's like,
That sounds like an incentive.
If he does not come back with damn near straight A's, I'm like, cool. Good job. What do you want to do?
Right.
He's like, I want to go to Urcha. Urcha is in Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
It's this big event where all the RC pilots, like the pros from around the world, meet.
Yeah.
And they just do this competition event thing. And it's this like week-long thing.
Right.
And I'm like, uh-oh.
Too expensive or like not interested?
First of all, too expensive. Secondly, where the hell is Muncie, Indiana? You know?
And who is going to be in Muncie, Indiana?
And on top of that, I've never been to the mainland.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You've never been to the mainland?
No.
Like until this?
Yeah. I've had never wanted to go.
So you're like
everything.
You're like 40 at this point.
Something. I don't know.
Okay.
But like everything I need, everything I want is here. I don't gotta go. What I had in my head is that them people, it's a huge city and they're all nuts.
Right.
Like, I don't got to deal with that. I've got everything I need is here.
Right.
You know, but he wants to go to the things. I'm like, man, like, how am I gonna pull this off?
That's a hell of a first visit to the mainland, Muncie, Indiana.
So yeah,
it's a hell of a choice.
The lucky thing was that in his flying helicopters, he's learning these little tricks and stuff and whatever. I was always videotaping him. And as a cool thing for us, a father-son thing to do, we actually started this like actually YouTube channel.
Okay.
To showcase his growth in flying RC helicopters.
Sure, makes sense.
This RC helicopter company called KDS saw these videos and contacted us.
No way.
Yeah. They're like, hey, we've seen your son's videos. He was like 7 years old at the time, and he was a natural at it, you know. And you're like, well, we kind of dig what he's doing, just being so young and being from Hawaii.
Right.
You know, it's kind of different. You know, like we'd like to maybe work with you.
Okay.
And immediately I'm like, nah, these guys are trying to scam me out of something.
Right.
Maybe some kind of like, I don't know, you know.
You didn't even believe it was the company, probably.
Yeah, no. I was like, no, what the hell?
Right.
And so like they're all like, hey, we're gonna send you these helicopters. Have him just fly them and see what he thinks. Like, he's 7 years old. He doesn't think. You know?
He's gonna love it.
It's like cool. You know. So
which is exactly what they have in mind.
Yeah. So and it arrived.
Right.
Like, man, like okay, we're like going to build this thing and
it's not a scam.
Whatever. And you know. And then they're all like, well, all you got to do is in your videos, just have him flying our helicopter,
right? And
tag or whatever's their company,
right?
No problem,
right?
So doing this and then like that YouTube channel started growing, like people from like around the world starts watching
your channel,
and then they're all like, hey, have you heard of Urcha? I'm like, oh, actually, yes, I have. Like, well, do you guys want to go? I'm like, yeah.
How can that be a coincidence? That's crazy.
Dude. So
how many followers are we talking about now at this point?
Oh, I have no idea. No, that thing, that's a whole nother story. That thing's done.
Okay.
Yeah. But so we went to back to the flavors, the food. We actually went to Texas because the actual U.S. headquarters was in Texas, Houston, Texas.
For this helicopter company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go there. I'm like, hey, we're in Texas. I want to experience Texas steaks and Texas barbecue.
Right.
All
right.
this stuff, And I had already been making briskets and sausages, pork ribs, all this stuff, And next level, I'm like, yo, like
Right.
I need to start doing this,
What was next level about it? Like, what was the difference?
The flavors, the
Yeah.
texture. Yeah, I mean, what I was doing was great,
Yeah.
But just, I think it was more the fundamentals of smoking. It's not just throwing some wood in the fire. It's really not, like you need to know what you're doing and when to do it.
And you
Or you're
got
gonna
to
screw
see
stuff
that
up.
because you're just eating at these places.
Yeah.
But you got to go in the back and look.
Some, yeah.
Yeah.
I like got to more talk to people, and
Right.
lots of those people was like, hey, like, where's your next stop? Okay, yeah, man, we're actually going to like Arkansas. Okay, like when you're there, try to stop by this guy's place, check him out, talk sorry with him.
Right.
Cool. So we drove from Houston up to Muncie, Indiana.
Wow, that's a long drive. That's like what?
The guys that
Couple
we were
thousand
with,
miles?
man, they screwed me. These jerks. I grew up in Hawaii, man. A couple hours, you're around the island, right? And I'm so stuck. I'm like, man, we're gonna drive across the country. I'm like,
Days.
I'll drive.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, the whole way. I'm like, yep. They're like,
You have no idea what
fantastic.
that means.
I had
You're
no
like,
idea.
we're going North Shore.
Yeah, man. 12 hours to get out of Texas.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've done that. I've done it.
yeah. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then just semi trucks. I don't drive 70 miles an hour.
Right.
I drive like an old man.
Yeah.
And like I'm actually towing this camper along as well. So I'm doing 50 semi truck.
Right.
And they're like, you gotta speed up. I'm like, speed up to 60, 65 and still,
Oh, the speed limit is 75 on those
yeah,
highways.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
But just so we stopped all over the place
Yeah.
and just ate the food and talked to people and just took notes, and then like came back home and like, man, some of the stuff, and like some of it didn't work here. Some of it just didn't jive
Why?
because the climate's different.
Like in terms of flavors?
Yeah, wood. So like there they actually asked me, okay, so like what woods do you cook with? I'm like, Kaneohe. I'm like, what's Kaneohe?
Right.
I don't know, Kaneohe. Didn't understand that it's actually mesquite.
Right.
So I like learned that then, and they're like, no, man, you don't cook
Yeah.
with straight mesquite. Like that's crazy. Like,
You're like, I do.
yeah, I'm like, that's all. I mean, sometimes I'll
A
throw
lot
some,
of people do, yeah.
some like lychee wood in there or some guava or whatever. But my main is Kaneohe, and they're like, but it's super accurate. Like your actual meats will come out super bitter, right? I'm like, no, like that's all everybody cooks with in Hawaii. Well, I've learned that because the actual climate difference, our mesquite here, Kaneohe, is a lot mellower than what they have there. If you cook with like their mesquite solely, yeah,
It's going to be bad.
it's gonna be bad, real bad. that is why they like actually use post oak and stuff like that, more mellow woods.
So what are the woods they use? Oak?
Mostly post oak. Yeah.
Post oak?
Yeah.
What's post oak?
It's just straight cuts of oak.
Okay.
So
So that's like the go-to.
yeah. It's just
smoking.
It's just not so harsh,
Right.
But here, I guess lower elevation, maybe the salt air has something to do with it. I don't know, but
Yeah.
our mesquite,
It's nice and mellow.
Kaneohe is
Kaneohe, yeah.
nice and mellow, and it's almost fruity,
Huh.
and it like blows their mind you know. So through that travels, like I learned stuff on each stop.
Yeah.
But I'm an island boy, you know, like I can't do without certain flavors. You know what I
Right.
mean? So kind of actually took what I was doing already, but kind of
Give me an example of something that they do with certain flavors, whether it's wood or spices or whatever. You do the same thing, but slightly different.
well, just like briskets, you know.
Right.
I've always cooked in like actually cabinet smokers,
Right.
hard and fast.
Right.
You know, they all cooked offset drums. You know,
Right.
like, you know, mine all
Like you have in the back now.
Yeah, and slow and slow. You know, I've
Days.
learning to trim was a huge one. You know, my process between the trim and the actual smoker, I learned there, which was something that I think makes my brisket what it is. No
Right.
one else here does that process, you
Right.
know, because it's stupid. It's
Yeah.
literally like what I do. I've had other pit masters here, like I tell them what I do, and they're like, "You're dumb." Like,
What
why
do you mean?
are you doing
Just
that?
like inefficient, or
It's just the amount of time
yeah.
that it takes. But you know,
But that's your process.
yeah, and I'm not gonna deviate from that. It's just it may not be the best,
Yeah.
but to me it is. To
Yeah.
me, that's the right way to do it. And you know, when like, you know, I have people come in here, be like, "Man, it's like the best brisket I've ever had in my life." Especially folks from Texas, guys from Georgia.
And I love it.
They come in here, they're like, "I come to Hawaii, you know, to have
Yeah.
the best barbecue."
Yeah.
You're like, "Ah, thanks," you know, it's awesome.
That's a
Yeah.
that must be a trip.
Yeah, no,
Hearing
it
that stuff.
totally is. It's, and again, goes back to where I don't think my food's all that special. I think
Right.
it's good. Like
Right.
I've had other barbecue. I'm like, and you know, come work with me. I'll show you some stuff.
Right.
You know, and not to be a jerk about it, it's just, I mean, your food sucks. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and it goes down to it boils down to maybe that's not what they really want to be doing.
Right.
Maybe it
They're just making
like,
food.
Yeah, like takes too much time. Yeah, I was actually interviewed for this article. I think it was for like Frolic or something. I can't remember which one it was, but they asked me, like, okay, one question: what's the most important ingredient in your kitchen that you use the most? The one most important one that you can't do without. Like,
Yeah.
you need to give a fuck.
It goes back to the love.
Yeah. If you don't give a fuck, if you don't care about what you're doing, about
Yeah.
your food or whatever, quit.
Right.
Go work in an office. I don't know.
Go do
Whatever.
something else that you don't give
Yeah.
a fuck about.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect the people who are trying to come in and enjoy
Yeah.
your food, right?
You know, it's, but just having like our chow.
Yeah.
People in Hawaii don't know what chow is. I didn't know what chow was. I went to
You
this.
gave me some of that. I took it back to my wife. She loved it.
Yeah, everybody.
She loved it. But so that's a good example because that's a pickled.
It's cabbage.
Yeah, it's pickled cabbage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like go to any Korean barbecue spot
Well-
here, right?
The process and how it's made.
It's different.
It's even when like, you know, I tried to recreate it, it just wasn't coming out right because I was doing it the way that you normally pickle cabbage,
Yeah.
pickle stuff. Totally wrong, totally backwards. I had to make calls.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, I'm trying to make chow. I'm like, people laugh. They're like, yeah, you know. I'm like, look, this is what I'm doing, and it's coming out like ass, man. Like,
Right.
they're like, hey, look, this is what you need to do, and I'm like, no, that's wrong.
Right.
And they're like, this one guy is like, you called me And I'm telling you, you're telling me I'm wrong. And I'm sorry. It's just, you know. So I do it that way, and like now I can't make enough of this stuff. You know.
Yeah.
But like I first had that in this I think it was Missouri. It was either Missouri or like Arkansas. I could smell this barbecue was amazing. We're actually filling gas, right? In this little town, it was called Green Up. And so we found it. You know, we go park in there, walk in there, and I'm like, I want some of everything you got in the menu.
Just a little hole in the wall spot.
Yeah, it's a little spot. You know, they bring on this tray and everything's on there. Sausage, chicken, brisket, pork ribs, everything. Everything was fantastic. I go to the counter with the girl. I'm like, hey, is your pitmaster here or your boss, or can I talk to him? She's like, oh, why? I'm like, no, just, you know.
Yeah.
He comes out, big old black dude.
Yeah.
Bald head, just coveralls, towel over his shoulder, sweaty and stink.
Right.
You know? Like, hey, sir, what's up? I'm like, hey, man, like, don't take offense to this, but I'm going to kiss you. So, pulls this little rag out, he wipes his forehead, puts his head down, kisses my head. I'm like, man, that was the most fantastic food I've ever had in my life. What's that yellow stuff? He's like, oh, it's chow.
Right.
I go, what the hell is chow? So, you know, man, he explained it to me. He's like, you know, it's pickled cabbage. It's like more for a actual palate cleanser, because brisket and all that stuff, it's so rich, it's so fatty that you like need that
it's like
acid
ginger or something.
like kind of yeah. Not understanding that in Hawaii, or he didn't understand, like in Hawaii, this could be a main course.
Right.
Because I'm like you know, and
any pickled vegetable, kimchi, or
like,
anything you get at the
like,
Korean
we'll
barbecue.
like sit there with a beer and eat kimchi, you know, whatever. So yeah, man, I came back home and figured it out, got it made, everything.
Yeah.
Now we can't make enough of this stuff. It's crazy.
It just flies out the door.
Yeah.
And I mean, so like what? There's so much love that goes into the stuff that you make here. Did you see that on the mainland as well? In these places you went, like that guy that came out and you.
Places like that,
yeah. You just see it. They just love it.
Yeah, like we've been to bigger places, just sucked, you know. And the sad part about it is that I could see where, at one point, that was the place to be.
Right.
But that was when the owner was the pitmaster. His wife was probably front of house.
Right.
You know, and they had some neighborhood kids or nephews, nieces, or whatever, working, and they were doing their thing. And then they grew and started hiring more people in, and to these other people, it's a job. It's a job.
Yeah, it's just a job.
You know. Yeah. So like, but
and that's what you don't want to happen.
That's what I don't want to happen. Yeah. You know, my crew, whether it be the children that we made or not, like they're all family.
Yeah.
You know, Whiskey Smoke is a family. You're like actually new in here. Like you're a part of our family.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take care of you, not as a employer, a boss, or whatever. Like,
sure.
You know, you're family to me.
Sure.
And it has to be that way because I'm trusting you.
Yeah.
With not just my food, not just my business, but with my last name.
Sure.
My reputation.
Your legacy.
Yeah. You know, so yeah. I need to make sure that you're good.
Yeah.
Like you're taken care of. You're happy where you are, because the happier you are, the better job you will do. You know.
So when it comes to that, when it comes to like your legacy, and we've talked a little bit about what the end looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what does that look like for you? You know, what you're gonna hand this place off to your family, which is like your dream in some ways, right? To be able to hand this thing off, know it's in good hands, that all that love is gonna stay in the food, and that your family also has this thing that they can
Yeah. Well,
walk away with. But like, what else? What's the end for you though? Like, what do you want to do? You're not a guy who's gonna go out and just golf.
No,
because you're gonna get
you know
depressed
what?
after a week.
I honestly don't know, because being a father is all I've ever done. You know, so yeah, I'd like to retire somewhere, but then I'd probably just start another business or start working somewhere.
Right.
You know, there's no way I'll totally be away from this, but this is, to me, this is the RC truck. Rather than getting the RC truck, I got a mower and some trash bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is for my boys.
Right.
I'm not just giving it to them. I didn't just give it to them. They worked for it.
Right.
They built this thing. This was my dream. I came up with the concept.
Yeah.
Came up with the recipes. Hey, this is what we're gonna do, but you're gonna do this. You're gonna build this.
Right.
You know, I'm not just gonna do all this stuff for you.
Right.
You know, like you're gonna do this yourself, and you're gonna continue to grow. I'll grow stuff, and once I hit a certain point, you're gonna jump in on this, so I can go jump over to this, and I'll grow that. Then you're gonna jump in on this, so I can jump over to this.
Yeah.
But like I'll get you the mower and the trash bags, and then I'll step away, and you build it. You go clean the yards to make your money.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll probably do that until I die.
Right.
Just because, what else am I gonna do? You know, I mean, I could start drinking. I don't know.
That's my exit strategy. I'm gonna start drinking.
I'm gonna be drunk. I mean, like even like that. I mean, you know, I like pretty much totally quit drinking when like this. Not that I was ever alcoholic, but like just to like kind of show the boys as well, like focus.
Yeah.
You know, like, everything stops. Like this is what's happening right now.
Right.
We need to do this. You know, and the RC thing. My son that stopped because he actually became a father at a very young age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I told him, like, he was actually pro. He was a professional RC pilot.
Really?
Sponsored all this. Going on
So that's
trips.
where that went.
Yeah, and like he was like, "Oh, I gotta go to Orchard." No, you're not going to go to Orchard this year, man.
Right.
It's like, why not?
Your
You got a
dad.
child you got to take
Yeah,
care of.
man.
Yeah,
Can't mess around anymore.
all these helicopters and airplanes. We've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of RC helicopters, like RC helicopters and planes where like we had bought big trailers just to get them to the RC field.
Right.
Like you could put a child in it.
Right.
It's like wild, you know.
That's nuts.
All that done.
Done.
You know.
Yeah. So you spoke. I know we probably gotta get out of here pretty soon. But earlier you talked about like what regret might look like and how you wanted to avoid that. You know, at the very end. I think we all kind of do this sometimes. We look at the very, very end of things, you know, of our lives, and like, what do I want it to look like? What do I not want it to look like? And of course, some of us don't think about that at all. But what does that look like for you? Like, I guess that's the other question about the end. Like, what's the picture in your mind? The good one, not the regretful one, of what it looks like at the very end. Like, where are you?
Most everything in the bucket list checked off.
Yeah.
Kids are good.
Yeah.
Grandkids, great grandkids,
Yeah.
good. Everybody understands where they are and why they're there.
Yeah.
You know how, how everything happened. You know, they understand that like they made themselves who they are. They put themselves. You know, I got the ball rolling, put my hands up, and they took care of everything else.
Yeah.
You know, like, and continue teaching that to their kids, their kids, so on and so forth. You know, I was never really handed anything, and neither were they. You know, and I think that's the way things should be. And just knowing when I take my last breath, knowing that I left them. The best men they could possibly ever be. You know.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Self-sufficient.
Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of people that just wander aimlessly.
Yeah.
And just they've had everything handed to them
Right.
their in the entire life. If Costco shut down, they're screwed.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No. You taught them how to fish, so to speak, right?
Yeah. You know, I mean, I like know people, mom and dad die, and all of a sudden they're fucked.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's not your fault, man. I blame your parents.
Right.
They never taught you nothing.
Right.
You know, they like never let you go and learn stuff on your own.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Nice. Well, dude, I think we could probably do this for another hour, but we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
So until next time,
Yeah,
it
brother.
was awesome sitting down with you, man.
Yeah, man.